So all you're going to need for today is a light brown, no, not brown, oh goodness me, unless you're making brown peas, that's absolutely, that's absolutely fine. A light green and a dark green, okay, that's all you need. Nice and easy. And then really tiny pinches of black for the eyes, white if you would like to do a little bit of sort of spark of life in their eyes that we all sometimes do, and a little bit of pink if you wanted to do the cheeks. Okay, it's as easy as that. But obviously you can use any colour scheme you like. If you want to do purple peas, you do purple peas. Okay, purple is my favourite colour. So, well, along with red, but red peas might look a bit weird. But so would purple. Anyway, oh dear ladies, it has begun. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to make them. And then you can do whatever your imagination, however it takes you. You could do 3 peas, 4 peas, however many peas you like. You could hang them up. You can do whatever you want with them. Okay, so that's what we're going to make today. The other thing that I have got that I'm going to be using is some sheet felt. So I did put this up on the materials list, but you don't need it. Okay, I just thought it'd be interesting to show you that you can use it if you want to. This one, I was chatting about it before in group, but this one was made out of bottles, which I think was, you know, brilliant. Plastic bottles, so they've reused it from plastic bottles. I've got a whole little wedge of some greens and some other colours which I'm going to try and use up, because I think that's just brilliant. So yeah, I've got this one, and we will be cutting a shape out of it and felting onto it. Okay, so I just thought that was another nice way to show you. Alright, so I've got that extra. I've also got a pair of scissors, which we hardly ever need, ladies. You know me, I don't like cutting my wall unless I have to, but you would need them. We'll see if you're cutting out anything from the felt. So that's those. So the first thing we're going to do is to make the peas in the pod. I'll only make one this morning because you don't need to sit there and watch me make lots of peas. I'm sure you all know how to make a circle shape, a ball shape. But for those of you that are just starting, because I know there are a few of you who are new to needle felting, so fabulous, I'll show you one of my methods of how to make a ball shape. Obviously there are lots of different ways to make things. This is just one of them. Okay, so I'm going to take my light pea green, I'm going to call it, for my peas, okay, and I'm going to take a strip, like a ribbon. Okay, so I'm just taking some off. Okay, so this one, like I said, is a light green, and all I'm going to do, those of you that haven't heard it before, which I'm sure you all have, is my sausage side method. Okay, so I go to roll the sausage, I then come in from the sides. I go to roll a sausage, I then come into the sides until I reach the end. Now, I'm going to make mine slightly larger today, because obviously you guys need to be able to see on the screen. If you want to make your piece even smaller, so you might want to make a larger one just to start with, so you know what you're doing, and then you can get smaller and smaller and smaller, can't you? But I'm going to go slightly larger today, just so that you guys can see on the screen. I hope that's okay. So if you want smaller peas, you'll need to take maybe half of this amount. Okay, I've got my little markers on the end here. Let's find out what I've got. It's about 2 inches across. 1, 2, 4, 6, and it's about 6 inches long. Alright, but that is real random. I'm just going for it today because it really doesn't need to be precise. Okay, so sausage, I'm rolling a sausage. I'm coming in from the side. I'm rolling a sausage, coming in from the side. And what you end up with, it's not really a ball shape, but it's a random ball shape that's all together, okay? And then I'm taking my multi-needle tool because it'll be quicker today, but feel free to take your single one if you've got a single one. Keep your fingers out of the way, ladies. It's a really good way to stab yourself when you're working on smaller things, okay? And I'm just turning and stabbing. Turning and stabbing, and the more I do that, the more I turn and the more I stab, the more it'll all come together. Oh, got a funny bit come off my map there. The more it will all come together and you'll end up with a ball shape, we hope. But just watch your fingers, okay? I wouldn't recommend using your big clattery clover tool at this point, or any of the other large multi-tools. I know I've said it before, but in my clover tool, I've only got 2 needles, and I really prefer it that way. If I have more than that, I feel like I'm really trying to drive through the wool, and it really does hurt my wrist. So that's why I only use 2, and I wouldn't use anything bigger than a 38 gauge either, because I've got 2 38s in here. That's plenty for me. I would actually prefer to have 40s in there and spend a little bit of extra time felting things. I used, was it a 32 gauge needle when I was making my lovely fantasy whale from the lovely Little Blue Artworks, which was great to try, because when I first started felting, nearly 8 years ago, my goodness, about 7.5 years ago, I remember trying the larger needles, and I really didn't get on with them. Like I said, it really does hurt my wrist if I feel like I'm having to push through. So it was really nice to retry it using that kit, and I came to the same conclusion, that 32s are just not for me. I just don't see the point. They are so, it's really tricky to describe, but they really do a lot of damage. So as you're pushing through, they really do pull those fibres in, and you end up with a huge divot just by, you know, a couple of times pushing in. And not only that, once you're starting to firm everything up, you really have to push through with it. And like I said, my wrists just don't like it, so I'd rather just use something smaller. Great to try though. I did have fun trying it. It was really good. I don't know if you saw, but eventually I snapped it. Not good, I know. I think, when was I? Oh, that's right. I'd come to the end, and I was making the sort of barnacles at the end. I'll get him in a minute so you can have a look. I've put him safely in my little glass cabinet. But yeah, I put barnacles on, and I thought, oh, do you know what would be nice if you put like a little hole in the middle of the barnacle? And I thought, oh, I know, those 32 gauge needles will make a really nice hole, won't they? So I pushed it through, and of course my work, because I'd been felting it for sort of 4 or 5 hours, it's pretty solid, and I snapped my needle, didn't I? Typical. Oh dearie me. I don't usually snap my needles, she says. I'll snap one today, you watch. I haven't snapped one for a very, very long time, which is good. I have bent them using templates of all. I've bent my needles, but not snapped them in a very long time. Right, so I'm just literally stabbing and turning, and can you see that it's turned into this nice ball? Okay, so if you want it to be more of a perfect ball shape, use it like clay. In your hand, give it a roll, and you'll begin to shape it and change it, and then you can just keep stabbing. Now, when you're making the peas, you need to make them super firm, okay? Because if you're putting decoration, or detail I should say, on the front, obviously if you're putting those eyes and a little mouth on there, or anything else that you decide to put on there to make it yours, to personalise it, then it needs to be pretty firm. What happens if you start adding detail on top of something that's really squishy is it literally just disappears into your work, okay? That's the biggest thing when you first start needle felting, okay, is knowing or having a feel for when it's finished. Now, if you don't want to put loads of detail on something and you're just adding maybe a top coat and you want it to stay pretty fluffy, then you don't need to stab it till it's really, really solid. But if you want to put really nice detail on there and really make it look fine detail, really refined, then the more you stab it, the firmer and firmer it'll get, and the better your detail, the sharper, I should say, your detail will look. Because everybody's got personal preference of how they want it to look, and that's absolutely fine. I remember when I first started needle felting, like I said, 7.5 years ago, I just wanted to make everything really quickly. Like, I just thought it was amazing that you can make, you know, a creature in an hour. I think that's amazing. Okay, and if you go to certain people. So the lovely Steffi and Sophie over at the Makers, their motto, everyone a maker, is just fabulous, because they teach people to love needle felting, because you can literally make one of their creations in an hour, and I think that's amazing. Okay, so if you're making one of their owls or something like that, an hour is all it will take, because they don't make everything firm. It's perfect for beginners, quick make of a shape and stab it on. Okay, and I think that's wonderful. I love that. It just teaches everyone to love it. But if you want it to look a bit more refined and a bit more like, what's the word, sharper, then you need to keep felting. Okay, you need to make it nice and firm. Mine's going pretty firm now, I have to say. Now, I've got dodgy thumbs. Still haven't been to get those sorted out, ladies. So, yeah, but they're still pretty squidgy in between there. And I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to make it as hard as I can make it, because I want the detail. I want his eyes to look good. Okay, I'm only going to make one today. If you feel like you've felted yours enough, maybe you've made a smaller ball, or you're happy with the firmness, that's absolutely fine. It's your creation. You can do whatever you like. So you can stop now if you want to and start a second one, or you can keep going like me. Okay, I'm not sure how long I've been felting this one for. Maybe 8 minutes, I think. 8 to 10 minutes. I'm just looking at the clock. I can't remember what time I looked at it now. Okay, so I would now take just a pinch of the colour I'm using. And I would use this is my multi-needle tool with my 42 gauge needles in. Okay, so this will smooth everything out, which is really nice. I don't mind having 3 42 gauge needles, because you don't have to drive it through, okay, because it's just for my top coat. All right, so I would get a tiny pinch like this. Really is a tiny pinch. It's see-through, ladies, and I'm just using my multi-tool with this. But you can use a single one. It just takes a little bit longer. I'm just doing it so it doesn't take me too long. Okay, so you can see the difference between this side, which has now been covered, and I've only done it really quickly. I would spend a bit of time just smoothing that out, to this side, which has got lots of those seams. Okay, so if you want to spend a bit of time just refining it a little bit, just smoothing it out a little bit, I'm going to do that. I will just say though that obviously if you're putting your peas in a pod, you're only technically going to see the front of your peas. Okay, you're only going to see their faces. So if you decide that you want to make it really nice and smoothed out, then you could just do one side. You don't have to do both sides, because one side obviously is going to be at the back. Okay. Oh, I love that noise, don't you, ladies? I really do love it. Okay, so I've just rolled it in my hand, smoothed everything out. You can see I've got perfect ball there, which is really nice. Bit bigger than the ones that I'd made before, but like I said, I was trying to go a bit bigger so that you all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to decorate them first with the details, so they're ready to go straight into the pods. Okay, I don't put them in the pods and then decorate them. Much easier to do it this way. Okay, so you can decorate yours however you like, okay? I'm going to do a really simple one this morning. 2 eyes, little smile and a pink cheek. Easy as that. If you want to use beads, they look really nice. If you've got glass eyes, they would look fabulous as well. Little black glass eyes, they look really nice and shiny. I think you're probably looking at, if you're going for this sort of size, which is only just over 1 inch across, but I would go for maybe 5mm, 6mm. But I have to say, the bigger the eyes, the cuter they look. Eyes first, shall we? So whenever I do eyes, I like to indent where the eyes are going to go first. So if you're not using beads or eyes, and you're just using a little bit of carded wool like me, then just spend a little bit of time deciding where your eyes are going to go and indent that little, it's basically an eye socket, isn't it? So you could do one side, one the other, obviously. Spend a bit of time getting them where you want. You don't have to do open eyes, you could do sleepy eyes. That would be a nice one, little sort of rainbow art shape. the sleepy eyes. You can add eyebrows, which I did for the first one, or you could leave it blank. You can add hair, you can add a smile, you could do a sad face, you could do a shocked face, you could add a tongue, gosh, you can add a nose if you want to, you could do a little cheeky smirk on the side, completely up to you ladies. Okay, right, so here's my eyes, and I'm going to do the most basic simple eyes today. I'm going to take two bits off that are roughly the same, okay, and I'm going to, oh gosh, I've forgotten that I can't, yeah, that's okay. Roll them in between your fingers and your thumb. It's a really good way just to get a, if you can't do it like that, and I'm struggling because I've got sore thumbs, or I'll use the next piece to show you, do it in here, on here, use one finger, and it does take a little tiny bit extra, but it does all start to come together. Alright, so as you can see, it's all starting to come together. Whoa. If you make them teeny tiny, don't drop them, don't breathe, because they'll fly away. Okay, it just takes a little bit longer, but you do get eventually to the same place. Okay, guys? Okay, so I'm taking my first one on the end of my needle, pushing it in, and I like to go around the edge first to get the shape that I want, and then if I feel that I want to then felt it all down in the middle, I can. Around the edge. Alright, just going to make that a little bit smaller. Remember, you can turn your work around at any point if you find it, if you find it easier to work. I find it easier to work this side, so I've just turned his head round. He's upside down. Oh, look, I took a top off my nail there, ladies. Don't look and, no, start again. Don't look away and stab. That's the, that's the motto. Okay. Okay, so if you're happy that they're both in the same place, just stab them in and you're done. I've actually got this weird little bit in the middle that looks like a nose. I don't know why that's happened. Okay, so to do a smiley face, and what I'm going to have to do, because it's going to bug me, ladies, I do apologise, I'm just going to spend a second just felting this little bit down because it's all gone all fluffy where I've been manhandling him. So I'm just felting it down a little bit with my smooth 32 gauge needles. Okay, and then just to do a smile, sorry, this is the way that I like to do it. So you can indent one side and indent the other side so you know where your smile is going. Okay, so I'm pushing it in, I'm not even taking the needle out, can you see? Not even taking the needle out, pushing it in, not even taking the needle out. Okay, and then I'm going to join those two bits together. So, oh goodness, I'm sorry, I've got a wire and a phone in front of my face, ladies, so I hope it won't go wonky. Oh no, it looks alright. Okay, so I've stabbed in where I want that black to go. Okay, lovely smiley face, look. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my black, and when I say a little bit, I really do mean a little bit. When I told you to bring a pinch, you really didn't need a pinch, but I can't think of a smaller way to say it. A wisp is all you need. Okay, so take it together and just roll it in between your fingers. The smaller you can get this bit, oh, you could do that in your palm as well, ladies. The smaller that you can get this bit, okay, the smaller, or the thinner I should say, your smile will be. If you have a thicker piece of black, although you will be able to stab it in to a certain extent, it won't go super thin. Alright, so try and go thin if you can, if that's the look you're going for. So I just tack it in one side, oh, and then start to follow the indent. You can do it upside down, back to front, he really doesn't mind at this point. Okay, now if you've got too much like me, when you get to the end and you think, oh, do you know what, I think it'd be nice if he had a slightly thicker mouth, you can go back on yourself. If you think to yourself, oh my goodness, I don't want it to get any thicker, then you can, I'm afraid you're going to have to use your scissors. and just snip. If you try and pull this off, because it's all felted together, because we twisted it, essentially making a tiny little piece of yarn, if you try and pull that out now, the whole lot is going to come with you. Okay, if you've got a really tiny bit at the end like I have here, which is just literally like the tiniest little bit there, I wouldn't try and snip that off. Oh, I'd use the barbs to my advantage. Just twist your needle, catch the barbs and push. That's it, and it's gone. Look, no scissors required. All right, so that's a really basic smiley face. Now you can add some cheeks if you want to, and when I do my cheeks I usually go for about halfway down his eye. So across his eye here, I come about halfway down and I do a cheek here, come about halfway down and do a cheek here. Obviously you don't have to if you don't want to. But to do the cheeks, you're going to need 2 tiny little pieces of the pink. I've got a candy floss pink here next to me, which was one of my favourite ones. Oh, you can't even see them on screen. I do apologise, but I have got them there. I promise. 2 little pieces of candy floss pink. Okay, you could, as you did with the eye, indent where you want them to go. That's a really good way to do it. Or you could literally just bring it together in your fingers, pop it on, and then go use the needle. Ooh, sorry, I'm just trying to get my head around the wire. Use the needle, just let the barbs catch the wool, and you'll be able to shape it on his face. Okay, you could, of course, if you were making bigger ones, if you wanted to make a flat circle on your mat, peel it off and then pop it on the side of his face, you could do that. If you're making bigger ones, that would be good. There's lots of different ways to do these things. I'm just showing you one of them today. So I'm going to turn him the other way again. I just find that easier. And I'm going to felt that in. Now the trick will be getting those cheeks in the same place, which is why I always think to myself, I'm going roughly for the middle of his eye. I haven't on that one, have I? Look. But that does help you with positioning. If you think to yourself, oh, I'm going roughly at the edge of his eye or roughly at the middle of his eye, it does really help with positioning. Okay, so just keep looking at it until you're happy. It doesn't have to be perfect. They're just smiley, happy peas in a pod. Fabulous. Okay, yeah, they're not quite right, I think. One of them's slightly different to the other, but never mind, he's happy. Okay, so that's your basic pea. If you wanted to do like I did here, just a bit of a nod to my husband's beard, like I said earlier, or your eyebrows or hair, then do what you did for your smiley face. Indent it first. So you could indent the hair and then colour it in. Follow it with what other colour you wanted. So if you wanted to go for, someone's brown hair, you could just do that with brown or whatever you want. Now, to do the pods, like I said, I'm going to use this, but I will show you how to do it without using this, okay? And you're basically, I've just really quickly drew this because it won't be this size, but basically you are going to pop your pea on your oh goodness me, your felt, or onto your wool. I'll show you that bit in a minute, okay? And you're just going to think to yourself, okay, that you need the straight bit at the back here, okay? And then you're going to come round like this sort of arch shape, but it's upside down, isn't it? So you've got this bit here, all right? But what you need to remember, it's really easy, but what you need to remember is you need a space this side and a space this side, so that when it goes in, you can felt these down and they stay together, okay? You also need to keep a little bit of space at the back and a little bit of space at the front, okay? Because what's going to happen is when we fold our pod over, okay, even though I'd left lots of space at the front, obviously where you're folding over, that all disappears. The space that you left disappears, so that they do sit, okay, do come out of the pod slightly, all right? But when you're measuring it, you're gonna have to leave that extra space there, so when it wraps over, it still fits, all right? So oh goodness me, oh, this will confuse you, sorry, you're making, this is 1/2. Sorry ladies, this is 1/2. Okay, so basically once I've drawn this shape onto my felt, I then fold my felt over and I'm going to cut it out so that that becomes 1/2, and I've got the other side which is the other half. Doing it with just your darker wool, then obviously you need to lay it out flat and you're just going to stab the shape in. Okay, so you're going to use your needle, stab the back bit in first, stab round the front. Remember to leave that little bit of space so that when you fold over you've got that extra bit of space. But remember that's 1/2, so stab in 1/2 and then you can stab in the other half. Okay, and fold it, anything you've got left in, and flatten it down. So I'm just going to take, this is a lovely leaf green from the felt box, just so you know. I'm going to take some off. Oh, it does smell lovely, ladies. I'll pop it over there. Okay, so let's imagine, no, that's too, there we go. So let's imagine that I've got my 2 peas in my pod. Here he is, look, peas in my pod. All right, so I'm leaving this half here because I want this to be the other half, don't I? So I'm going for a line across here, that's the middle. Okay, and I'm going round with a little bit of extra space there. Remember there's another pea next to him. We're pretending. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a space at the front here. All right, and then you're going to do with the same with the back. So put it to the back and around. Doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Take him off, and then all these fluffy bits at the edge here are literally just going to fold in. Look, remember to keep taking it off your mat so it doesn't get stuck. Okay, oh, I've lost that one there. There it is. Okay, and obviously you'll be refining yours. I'm just doing mine super fast to show you. Okay, and then it's the same with the back bit. I've got quite a bit of random vegetable matter in this one. I don't know why. Okay, so that's your 2 halves, and this is the quickest I've ever done it, ladies. Okay, so that's your 2 halves, half here, half here. You're gonna obviously refine it. Oh, it's not gonna like it because I've not spent time felting it. Okay, so you're gonna refine yours. You're gonna firm yours up a little bit, and then what you'll do is you'll fold. Okay, so you'll have P in the middle, folding over, and then you're going to felt those 2 bits down in a minute, and I'm going to show you that in a minute anyway. But that's basically what's going to happen if you're just using the wool. Okay, and that was really quick, and there's a huge hole here. So yes, so please take your time if you're just using the wool. Okay, so let's move that out of the way. If you are using a bit of felt like me, then you could just do it freehand. So I'll just show you again. I've drawn a line down here, okay, and I've got my P on here, a line, that nice arch shape down here, leaving a bit of space so that when I fold over, I've got enough felt. I can see you. Yeah, lovely, fabulous. Okay, so that's going to be obviously one side. When I fold it over, excuse me, it's going to be doubled. Okay, so where's my scissors? Here they are. Oh, excuse me. Right, so I'm going to go that way. That'll help me. Oh no, hang on. Didn't quite get it in the right place, ladies. So my fold needs to be on this bit, doesn't it, where I have drawn. Okay. And all I'm going to do is cut it out. Now, you won't see any of the pen when you've finished, because obviously you're going to be covering this in wool. So you won't see anything, I promise. Boop. Right. So that was where I have drawn. I've folded it in half to where the line at the back was. Ta-da! And now I've got my pod. There you go, look. Easy as that. So you can do it either side. If you do it this side, well, it doesn't really matter which side you do it, because you can fold in this way or you can fold in this way, but you won't be able to see anything in here. All right. So I'm going to take my darker colour now, which is that lovely leaf green from the felt box. Okay, and I'm just going to take small bits at a time. And do you remember I said that your clattery tool would be quite a good one now? I'm going to use my Prim tool. Okay, so I just like to fill it with a few bits at a time. Okay, oh, I'm just going to show you, this is really strong, this Prim tool, that's why it's sticking. But then once you've got this bit, so you've overlapped this bit, okay, and if you just go back on yourself, you'll find you get that nice edge. Might actually be easier, I think that's a bit strong. So you'll get that nice edge. Okay, I've just switched to my 3 42 gauge needles. I'm not worried if I push all the way through because I've used a green felt. Oh, I'm picking up stuff from my mat there. I've used a green felt, so I know that if I push any of that felt through to the other side, A, if I don't like that, I can just use that as the middle, so that's okay. But B, it does actually look quite nice sometimes because it sort of blends in and you get different colours, different tones of the green, obviously coming through your pod, which is quite nice. That's your choice, really. If you don't like it, hang on, let's see if it's come through. Oh, not very much. If you don't like it that side, you can always use that as your middle. Alright, so just spend a bit of time. So I've got another big pinch there. I do that so it overlaps the edge. If I just felt that bit in. Now I'm doing mine super quick, ladies. Please don't try and catch up. Mine's awfully quick and very, I've got a few seams and bits. I wouldn't be doing it usually this quick, but just wanted to show you. Okay, so I've gone over the edge there, haven't I? So I can just go back on myself. Now in theory, the inside of your pod does not get seen. Okay, but some of it kind of does. So if you can have a look and think to yourself, oh yeah, this bit right at the back here in the middle doesn't get seen, you don't necessarily need to felt that bit. But if you're like me and you like to just know that all of it's done, I'm funny, then feel free to do that. Now when you're adding the bits, I like to give it a bit of a fluff, just so there's not loads of seams. Okay, bit of a fluff, bit of a hand card before you pop it on. Like I said, if you've got your clattery tool, I can hear Susan with it now. I bet she has. If you've got your fabulous Clover clattery tool, or the blue one, then feel free to use that. That'll make this a lot quicker. I'm just using this one here because I like my 42 gauge needles. So I've gone to the edge again, ladies. I felt round the edge. Boop. And turn it over. And then if I just wrap it back round the edges and felt it down, you get a nice edge. Okay, but please take your time. I'm going super fast, at the speed of light, just to get it done so you don't have to sit here and watch me do it. But don't forget to keep peeling it off your mat, that's the other thing, because obviously this will stick to your mat. If you're making it just out of the wool, like I very quickly showed you, then just take your time refining it. Hold it up to the light or a window or something like that, just to see if you've got any really thin patches, and just add a little tiny pinch, because I could see on mine that I had a really big thin bit, and if I was going to be continuing to make that into my pod, I definitely would have gone back and covered that. Okay, so I haven't worried a bit too much about the middle of mine on the other side, because I know that I'm going to be folding over and it doesn't need to be perfectly perfect today, because you know me, I'll just go back and fiddle and fiddle and fiddle. Okay, but I want to be able to show you guys. Okay, so pop him in the middle and just make sure, yay, that you're happy. Oh, you can't see him, can you? There he is. Hello. The way that I kept them in was just to fold over Okay, and then felt down each end. All right, that's how I kept mine in. So get them into the place you want. Mine's slightly out of place, but then just literally felt down. Okay, so yeah, just felt them down in the corners. I've not paid attention again, and it's gone slightly off. Whoop. But you will be paying attention, and you will get it perfect. Okay, so then you'll have, oh look, it could just be one pea in a pod. Anyone just one pea in a pod? Bless him, he's completely on the wonk. I'm not paying any attention, am I? Quite like one pea in a pod. If you push down here, look, that looks really cute as well. So you could just felt those bits down and have 1, 2, 3 little peas in your pod. Look, fabulous. Completely up to you, ladies. You can do any colour, like I said. They don't have to be green peas, do they? You can do whatever you like.